Battle through the firmament. Grand world. Chapter 331 Deep. The surface of the ancient monument was filled with a purple golden light. When the devil ape's black iron staff smashed into it, a dull sound could be heard. A huge force spread out, shaking both sides of the cliff, causing it to rumble. Woo! The black metal rod, which had been shaken by the ancient tablet, nearly slipped out of his hand. Dense white blood flowed out from between his thumb and forefinger. The devil ape let out a painful cry. The ancient tablet had already turned into a few dozen feet large and rushed forward, smashing the devil ape into the cliff. Who is this? I have never seen this before in the academy. How can it be so powerful? Wu Shaoqi was just about to attack when she was shocked to see Xiaoao smashing the devil ape into the cliff. Immediately, her pretty eyes were filled with shock. She looked at Xiaoyan by the side and hurriedly said. Xiaoyan hesitated a few times. When he saw the devil ape struggling under the ancient monument, he immediately said, "Let's get rid of this monster first. There will be danger in." After saying that, his figure flashed and arrived beside Xiaoao. Wu Shaoqi opened her beautiful eyes wide and looked at Xiaoao. Without saying anything, her beautiful figure moved and appeared beside Xiaoyan. This big guy seems a little different. Wu Shaoqi's eyes stared at the devil ape that was suppressed by the ancient monument. She said softly, "When I came in last year, I happened to see Ma Huyang fighting a Monarch Emperor monster. Although that monster is very powerful, it is not as big as this one." Xiaoao frowned and nodded. Its small face was full of seriousness as it said, "That's right, that's right. Only monsters above the Emperor cultivation level can change their form at will. However, this monster only has the strength of a Monarch Emperor. Even if it's a lot stronger than an ordinary Monarch Emperor, this form is still too big." After listening to what the two of them said, Xiaoyan shifted his gaze to the devil ape not far away. The black fog was spreading all over the place, and the devil ape's body could only be vaguely seen. Boom! In the next moment, with a loud bang, the ancient monument exploded. The devil ape roared as it leapt out from the crack. It was as if it had gone crazy. Its huge furry hand, which was holding the black metal rod, swept towards the huge rock. The huge rock was smashed into powder. As the cold wind howled, sonic booms were continuously heard. Dodge! By relying on his spiritual strength, Xiaoyan immediately sensed the devil ape's movement. Immediately, he let out a loud cry. Xiaoao and Wu Shaoqi's perception were not weak either. With a couple of leaps, they dodged the devil ape's ferocious attack. The black metal rod flew out with a whistling sound. It violently stabbed into the cliff on the other side, causing the huge rock to fall. The huge body of the devil ape was unusually agile at this moment. It leaped out of the black fog and pulled the black metal rod out of the cliff. It held the black metal rod in its hand and looked at Xiaoyan and the other two. Its lantern-sized eyes were filled with blood red. "We can't hold back anymore. This guy is going crazy. I'll hold him back. Quickly use that fire lotus." Seeing the devil ape's reaction, Xiaoao instructed Xiaoyan. Its petite body suddenly shot out. The purple gold origin key in its hand surged, instantly attracting the devil ape's attention. Xiaoyan nodded his head with a solemn expression. The strength of this devil ape had exceeded his expectations. Ordinary techniques were completely useless against it. He could only use the Buddha Fury Fire Lotus. Wu Shaoqi gave Xiaoyan a deep look and softly said, "I will go and help him. I will buy some more time for you." As she spoke, she followed closely behind Xiaoao. As her delicate hand was gently waved, a flower condor longbow that was flickering with a red glow was already in her hand. The origin key on his right hand surged and flicked on the bowstring. A scarlet-colored arrow shot out like a lightning bolt and struck the devil ape's body. Dazzling flames splashed out from the latter's armor, and cleverly attracted the devil ape's attention. This allowed Xiaoao to easily dodge the former's attack. Although Xiaoyan was extremely curious about Wu Shaoqi's spirit weapon, he did not have the mood to carefully observe it at this moment. The flames surged on both of his hands, causing Xiaoyan's heart to be as still as water. Under the control of his spiritual strength, the two flames slowly merged into each other. The blazing aura incinerated the black fog around him into nothingness, and a poochie sound was emitted. While Xiaoyan was fully focused on merging with the Buddha Fury Fire Lotus, Xiaoao and Wu Shaoqi had completely attracted the attention of the Devil Ape. The furious Devil Ape's attack became even more fierce. The black metal rod in his hand swung and tore through the air. Even Xiaoao did not dare to meet it head-on. Swoosh! Wu Shaoqi flashed and arrived on a huge rock. She flicked the bow in her hand and 3 arrows shot out in a row. The surrounding black fog was scattered by the Devil Ape. These 3 arrows did not move at all and steadily shot into the lantern-sized eyes of the latter. Chi! The arrows immediately ignited a slight flame on the eyes when they were shot. The movement of the Devil Ape also slowed down because of this. In the next moment, an even more furious roar was emitted from his body. The black metal rod in his hand was randomly waved without any order. It was as though he had sensed something. One of his intact eyes suddenly looked at the motionless Xiaoyan not far away. He saw the crystal-clear fire lotus slowly forming in the latter's hand. The hostility in his eyes became even stronger. Who? The Devil Ape suddenly stopped moving. It stared at Xiaoyan with its single eye. Its body under the armor was suddenly covered with a thick black fog. Wherever the fog reached, the giant rocks would be corroded. Origin Corpse Key, be careful. Xiaoao, who had recovered from his shock, let out a loud cry. A purple gold light surged out of its body. It instantly wrapped around Xiaoyan and Wu Shaoqi before the black fog could spread. When the black fog came into contact with the purple gold light, it was like boiling water meeting oil. It issued a deafening hissing sound. Are you done? I can't hold on any longer. The young face of Xiaoao was filled with anxiety, but there was nothing it could do. Ever since the last time he killed the Earth-Fire Profound Crystal Beast in Star-Severing Mountain Range, the injuries that had accumulated in his body had not healed, and his strength had yet to recover. When faced with this Devil Ape that was even stronger than an ordinary Monarch Emperor monster, there was nothing it could do. It could only hope for Xiaoyan's Fire Lotus. Wu Shaoqi's pretty face was pale. In just a few short breaths of time, she had shot out at least a few white arrows, and the Origin Monarch Key in her body had already been consumed intensely. Wu, seeing that the Corpse Key did not cause any harm to Xiaoyan and the other two, the Devil Ape roared continuously. It held the dark iron staff and rushed over. A frightening evil aura filled the air. It's done. Xiaoyan's closed eyes suddenly opened. His face had also become much paler. In the middle of his hands, a crystal clear and translucent fire lotus was rotating slowly. Every time it rotated, the surrounding space would tremble slightly, as if it was going to break apart. Sensing the seemingly endless key within the fire lotus, Wu Shaoqi's eyes were filled with astonishment. She looked at Xiaoyan with her beautiful eyes, and exclaimed in shock. She was actually trembling in the face of this key. Go! With a flick of her finger, the fire lotus flower grabbed a fire tail and rushed explosively towards the Devil Ape. An undetectable spatial crack quietly spread in the space that it cut across, and it immediately recovered to its original state. The moment the fire lotus took shape, the Devil Ape clearly sensed the brutal aura within it. Its intelligence was not low either. Immediately, it roared in a low voice. The Origin Corpse Key around its body surged out wildly and completely wrapped around its body. In the next moment, the fire lotus charged into the surging Origin Corpse Key. Xiaoyan's face was pale. The number of Buddha Fury Fire Lotuses needed to fuse with the Buddha Fury Fire Lotus here was much greater than in the outside world. His body was almost completely drained. Under the gazes of the three of them, there was an unexpected explosion. They could only see the Origin Corpse Key around the Devil Ape rapidly fading away. Very quickly, a slight cracking sound was heard by their ears. In the next moment, the endless Origin Corpse Key completely dissipated and the Devil Ape once again appeared in front of them. It actually didn't die. Xiaoyan's heart shook when he saw the dying Devil Ape. He found it hard to believe. With his current strength, Even an emperor cultivation wouldn't dare to easily defend against the Buddha Fury fire lotus that he had fused with. This devil ape was actually still alive. The devil ape's current appearance was quite miserable. All of the armor on its body had been shattered, revealing an illusory body. The origin bead on its chest seemed to have become much dimmer, and the originally ferocious aura had also dissipated. The devil ape looked at Shaoyan in horror. It suddenly turned around and ran towards the depths of the mountain range. It was so fast that it disappeared into the black fog in a couple of steps. It's not easy to seriously injure this fellow. I can't let it escape. Xiaoao let out a loud cry and took the lead to rush forward. Shaoyan gritted his teeth and rushed forward. He also followed behind. Since they had already arrived here, they had to obtain this Monarch Emperor monster's origin bead no matter what. Wu Shaoqi did not hesitate at all. Her beautiful figure moved and rushed into the black fog together with Shaoyan. Chapter End. Battle Through the Firmament. Grand World. Chapter 332. A shocking turn of events. In the deep valley of the mountain range, the miserable howl of the devil ape sounded like the cry of a ghost. Behind him, Shaoyan and the other two were chasing after him closely, but the Buddha Fury fire lotus didn't kill him. It was imaginable how terrifying the devil ape was. It had already severely injured him, and no one would willingly give it up. Strange, there isn't a single monster here. In the black fog, flames were dancing in Shaoyan's eyes. It was obvious that after chasing for a long time, he didn't see any other monster in the famous Shaman Yin Meridian of illusory spirit space. Blinking his purple gold eyes, Xiaoao hesitated for a moment and said, "Monsters will devour other monsters in order to increase their strength. Since this guy's strength has reached this level, all the monsters in this area should have been devoured by him long ago." Wu Shaoqi, who was standing at the side, also relied on her sharp senses to avoid all the poisonous swamps on the ground. After hearing Shaoyan's words, she also said, "Although the Shaman Yin Meridian is one of the 5 major Yin Meridians in illusory spirit space, it is still considered one of the 5 major Yin Meridians. In ancient times, countless experts were suppressed, but it was too long ago. The number of origin kiss left behind by those experts who had fallen is getting lesser and lesser. It is not easy to form such a monster." Shaoyan nodded slightly. No wonder this illusory spirit space was obtained by the 4 courtyards without anyone coveting it. The strength of the monsters in the illusory spirit space was greatly reduced. Not to mention, after such a long period of time, the experts who had fallen in the illusory spirit space had almost turned into ashes. Even if there were remnants left behind, the power would be greatly reduced. It was no longer attractive to those experts. After advancing for a moment, the field of vision in front of them suddenly became clear. They rushed out of the mountain valley and a blood-red sea suddenly appeared in front of their eyes. The blood sea was filled with endless yin qi. The surrounding cliffs were dyed red. The devil ape charged into the blood sea without looking back. When did this place become a sea of blood? When Xiaoao saw the sea of blood in front of him, its eyes suddenly widened, and its face was filled with disbelief. Shaoyan and Wu Shaoqi also stopped immediately. The evil yin qi that was spreading out from the sea of blood in front of them couldn't be completely isolated even with the help of the origin Monarch qi. Hearing Xiaoao's shocked words, both of them looked at the former. Wu Shaoqi's face was full of surprise and doubt. Regarding the details of the illusory spirit space, he was sure that none of the students in the Yunlo Academy knew about it as well as the existence of this sea of blood. She had never heard about it from Elder Wu, so how did this red-haired kid know about it? When the old man and I came here, this place was just a plain valley. It has only been tens of thousands of years. How did it become a sea of blood? Xiaoao muttered to itself, using a voice that only Shaoyan could hear. Shaoyan frowned when he heard this. His gaze when looking at the sea of blood was filled with confusion. As for the devil ape, it had already jumped into the sea of blood. Goo-doo-doo. The moment the devil ape jumped into the sea of blood, the entire blood sea suddenly began to boil violently. It was just like boiling water. After which, a miserable roar flashed and disappeared under the stunned gazes of Xiaoyan and the others. The cracking sound of the origin bead also came to an abrupt stop. Bang! The moment the miserable sound fell, the waves on the blood sea surged. In the next moment, a giant bear monster covered in black fur leaped out from the blood sea and steadily landed in front of the three of them. The giant bear monster's height was about the same as the devil ape. It held a bone axe in its huge palm, and its entire body was filled with endless source corpse ki. The air around it was completely corroded. What is this place? How can a monster be produced? Wu Shaoqi subconsciously swallowed a mouthful of saliva and muttered to herself. Xiaoao's purple gold eyes could not help but reveal a trace of fear. This giant bear's strength was not inferior to the devil ape. Why were the Monarch Emperor monsters that could not be found in normal days one after another here? Xiaoyan, can you use that fire lotus again? Wu Shaoqi bit her teeth lightly and looked at Xiaoyan, who was beside her anxiously. Xiaoyan could not help but laugh bitterly when he heard this. Just now, in order to fuse with the Buddha Fury Fire Lotus, he had used up more than half of the origin Monarch Ki. In the illusory spirit space, it was extremely difficult for the origin Ki to recover. With his current origin Ki, he was afraid that he would be sucked dry before he could successfully fuse with the Fire Lotus. Seeing Xiaoyan's silent expression, Wu Shaoqi pursed her lips. A trace of determination flashed across her pretty eyes as she looked at the giant bear. Wu! The giant bear roared towards the sky. Its entire body was filled with an oppressive aura. It rushed towards the three of them in large strides. In its huge bear eyes, blood-red light surged. It seemed to be formed from endless blood ki. You guys go quickly, I'll block it. At this moment, Xiaoao also felt regret for its blind decision. Currently, Xiaoyan's origin ki had been severely damaged due to the use of the Buddha Fury Fire Lotus, causing his strength to be greatly reduced. He no longer had the slightest chance of winning if he continued to fight with this monster. He could only try his best to delay it. As for Wu Shaoqi, she was merely an ordinary person whose strength was slightly stronger in his heart. She was completely a burden to him. As he spoke, Xiaoao's body turned. Purple gold light flowed on his palm as an ancient tablet was slowly formed. All of you, leave. I will stop it. A lovely cry was emitted. Wu Shaoqi was even faster than Xiaoao. With a slight movement of her body, she arrived in front of Xiaoao. Her slender arms directly struck the abdomen of the huge bear monster. Buzz! With a light wave of her arms, a fist-sized seal quietly appeared. It was Wu Shaoqi's ultimate technique, the Heaven Fighting Seal. Although Wu Shaoqi's Heaven Fighting Seal was extremely powerful in the eyes of many students in the academy, it was not put in the eyes of the giant bear. Xiaoao's dragon tablet hand could attract its attention. The bone axe slashed horizontally. The shocking destructive force caused the air to tremble unceasingly. The ancient tablet that seemed to be able to suppress the ages was directly split into two. A huge impact spread out. Xiaoao's small face turned pale, and a mouthful of purple golden blood was spat out. It flew out and landed in Xiaoyan's arms. This guy is even stronger than the previous one. This is bad. Xiaoao's face turned pale, and the tiredness in his eyes became even heavier. He said weakly, "That little girl." Xiaoyan gritted his teeth and looked at Wu Shaoqi with a stunned expression. The moment the giant bear sent Xiaoao flying, Wu Shaoqi's Heaven Fighting Seal also smashed into its abdomen. However, it only scattered a little of the origin corpse ki that lingered around the giant bear. The force that spread out even pushed it back a little. The moment Xiaoyan lifted his head to look at Wu Shaoqi, the latter gritted her teeth. Her hand suddenly reached to her neck. In the next moment, red light shot out from her palm and a mysterious curse seal suddenly rose from her neck. Boom! The instant the curse seal rose, Wu Shaoqi's jet-black long hair, which had originally been tied together, suddenly scattered. In merely a breath's time, her jet-black long hair had turned strangely pale. Her exquisite face had also become extremely old at this moment. Under Xiaoyan's sensitive senses, The life force within Wu Shaoqi's body was swiftly being drained. What is going on? Xiaoyan looked at Wu Shaoqi in shock. Her face looked like an old man who was about to die. There was not a trace of blood on her face. In the inner courtyard of Yunlo Academy, Elder Wu, who was drinking tea, suddenly raised his eyebrows. He raised his head and looked around blankly. A trace of a bad feeling quietly emerged, but he didn't know why. Chapter End. Battle Through the Firmament. Grand World. Chapter 333 The Living Dead. At the center of the Wu Yin Meridian, the sea of blood boiled and the murderous aura filled the air, dyeing the entire mountain range. In a pile of ruined rocks, the giant bear monster that was as tall as a few people stood with its head held high. The bone axe in its huge palm was circulating with a bloody light, and its body was surrounded by corpse energy. Its blood-red eyes stared straight at the petite human in front of it. Wu Shaoqi had a head full of white hair, and her originally delicate face was covered with wrinkles. Her body had also unknowingly bent a lot. How did her life force disappear so quickly? She is losing her life force. The Xiaoao shivered and got up from Xiaoyan's arms. When it saw Wu Shaoqi's appearance, it could not help but turn pale with fright. It hurriedly shouted, "Don't you want to cross the line? Quickly stop, or you will die." Xiaoyan also looked at Wu Shaoqi with a face full of shock. The latter had suddenly stepped forward, which made him deeply feel powerless. In the face of such a monster, besides the Buddha Fury Fire Lotus, he was actually at a helpless state. Wu Shaoqi was silent when she heard this. Her body actually gradually rose up. Facing the huge bear monster's bone axe that was coming at her, she stretched out her old palm. Light circulated on it, as if it carried unparalleled power, sending the huge bear monster flying and crashing into a cliff at the side. "Xiaoyan, I will hold it back. You guys leave this place quickly." Wu Shaoqi turned to look at Xiaoyan and the other two. Her old face seemed to be enduring great pain. "I have a curse mark on my body. My life force has been devoured by the curse seal. Even if I leave this place for a few years, I will still die without a doubt. This time, I have entered the illusory spirit space with the determination to die. This time, I will undo this curse seal. Although I have accelerated my death, the strength I have obtained. This monster." Pausing, Wu Shaoqi softly choked. "After you go out, don't tell Grandpa that he will be worried. Just pretend that you have never seen me." As she spoke, a line of clear tears flowed out from her eyes. Her usual tenacity had already disappeared without a trace at this moment. No matter what, she was just a woman. Facing death, anyone would feel fear, and the pain of leaving one's family was even more heartbreaking. Xiaoyan's heart sank when he heard this. Wu Shaoqi had completely made up her mind to die. Wu, leaping up from the pile of rocks, the giant bear rushed over. The source corpse key swept across like a howling gale. The entire valley was filled with an inexplicable fishy smell. "Let's go." With a light shout, two golden lights suddenly shot out from Wu Shaoqi's turbid eyes. With a light wave of her arms, a millstone-sized golden seal suddenly condensed. The aura lingering on it caused the entire valley to tremble. The huge golden seal whizzed over. The golden light roared in the space that it swept across, sweeping away the origin corpse key that filled the sky. Under the gazes of Xiaoyan and Wu Shaoqi, it ruthlessly smashed onto the giant bear monster's body. Accompanied by a furious cry, the endless origin corpse key was incinerated into nothingness. When the golden light scattered, the giant bear monster was already close to dying. The huge golden seal flew out. Wu Shaoqi seemed to have exhausted all of her strength as she powerlessly fell from the sky. Xiaoyan reacted quickly and rushed out, catching the giant bear firmly. The old pair of eyes glanced at Xiaoyan. Wu Shaoqi's cracked lips opened, and she used all her strength to speak. That fellow's imposing manner is greatly reduced. Take its origin bead and leave this place. Please don't tell Grandpa." As she spoke, the tears that flowed out of her eyes slowly stopped. The color in her eyes also quietly disappeared. There is no There is no longer any life. Xiaoyan hugged Wu Shaoqi. When he sensed the life force that had scattered from her body, a loud bang resounded in his mind. He opened his mouth and muttered to himself, "I'm sorry, young lady." The Xiaoao burst into tears, feeling extremely guilty. If it had not insisted on coming in to investigate, Wu Shaoqi might have left this place when she encountered the devil ape. She would not have lost her life. "All right, Xiaoao, it is not your fault," Xiaoyan said softly. He gently placed Wu Shaoqi on the huge rock, turned his head, and comforted the Xiaoao. Then, he looked at the giant bear that was struggling to get up not far away. His eyes were filled with anger. Speaking of which, Wu Shaoqi's death was closely related to him. Although he comforted the Xiaoao, Xiaoyan's heart was filled with self-blame. Boom! Xiaoyan clenched his teeth tightly. The crimson gold flame on his body suddenly rose. He also unleashed the heavenly monic flame mantra burning spell and rushed towards the giant bear demon. A fist filled with anger ruthlessly smashed onto the latter's head. "I'm sorry." Seeing the giant bear monster's body slowly disappear, a crystal clear origin bead landed on the ground. Xiaoyan deeply buried his head and muttered to himself in a low voice, his tone full of self-blame. The Xiaoao looked at Wu Shaoqi's aged face, kept his tears, and shouted, "Illusory spirit space, when I recover my strength in the future, I must destroy all 5 major yin meridians and accompany little Missy to death." Xiaoyan turned around and looked at the Xiaoao. The latter's face was full of disappointment, and his small mouth kept muttering. He, little guy, I can't destroy these 5 major yin meridians." Xiaoyan was about to say something when an old and gloomy voice suddenly sounded out and echoed throughout the entire valley. The sudden voice caused Xiaoyan and the Xiaoao to be stunned. The latter stood up and roared furiously, "Who is it? Get out here!" Xiaoyan looked at the blood sea with a serious expression. The moment the voice sounded, the blood sea suddenly boiled, as if it was stirring up endless waves. Boom! In the next moment, the blood sea rose up, and endless blood condensed in the sky. The place where the blood sea originally was had now become a plain. Under the astonished gazes of the 2 men, a huge blood-red eye slowly emerged. The blood in the eye flowed, and it was an extremely frightening sight. It was an eye the size of a disc, and it seemed as if it could see through Xiaoyan and the other man. Trying to act mysterious. Is a dead man trying to scare us? The Xiaoao was not afraid at all. It placed its small hands on its hips and cursed. The flames around Xiaoyan's body were extinguished. Looking at the huge eye in the sky, although he was shocked in his heart, his facial expression remained unchanged. Even if the opponent was an ancient expert, he wouldn't be able to survive after being suppressed for such a long time. You're right, I am indeed a dead man, but unlike those guys who can't die anymore, I am a living dead man. The blood in the huge blood eye flowed, and the rumbling sounds could be heard without an end. A living corpse. Xiaoyan and the Xiaoao were startled, and their eyes were fixed on the huge blood eye. It's a long story. The voice of the blood eye seemed to sigh. It then echoed in the valley. I really miss the days when I ventured into the great world with Lord Nether Imperial Consort. Unfortunately, I was careless and was defeated by a group of old fellows. But, the ultimate saint expert is immortal and indestructible. I have no choice but to seal them. I never thought that those old bastards would seal me here. The voice within the blood eye was rather excited, and it instantly calmed down before it roared with laughter. Those bastards. They used the 5-element origin seizing formation to seal me here. All these years, they've always extracted my origin energy and transformed it into monsters for their juniors to cultivate. All of them are shameless bastards. Nether Imperial Consort. Nether Imperial Consort Satsuma. He heard the laughter from the bloody eyes. Xiaoyan's facial expression changed, and he said in a deep voice, "You are from Nether Domain." Chapter End. Battle Through the Firmament. Grand World. Chapter 334. It was a difficult decision. You are from the Nether Domain. Xiaoyan's eyes widened when he heard the voice coming from the blood eye. He stared at the blood eye in the air. After the Xiaoao transformed into a human form, he had regained most of his memories from his past life. However, he couldn't remember how Elder Yi and his past life had fallen. What's wrong? You know Nether Imperial Consort too. The existence of the Blood Eye was also slightly surprised and said with interest. Xiaoyan clenched his teeth. Finally, he slowly shook his head and said, I have only occasionally heard people mention it. Hey, what the hell is a living corpse? Let me ask you, did you release those two monsters just now? The Xiaoao glared at him coldly and angrily said, Little thing, stop shouting. I'm talking to this young man who has the monic flame. A blood chain suddenly shot out from the Blood Eye. It immediately tied the Xiaoao tightly. No matter how the latter struggled, it was impossible for him to break free. It was as though he had been sealed. His voice was unable to be emitted. What are you trying to do? Xiaoyan clenched his fists tightly when he saw that the Xiaoao was easily subdued. He finally did not act rashly. Since the existence of the Blood Eye could tell that he possessed the monic flame, he had the right to speak to it. Don't be anxious. I won't hurt this little thing. A hearty laughter was emitted from the Blood Eye when it seemed to have sensed the change in Xiaoyan's heart. There was a fellow who came here a while ago. I have observed him in secret. Although that guy's strength is not good, his root bone is really good. Even among the people I have seen before, there are few who can be compared to him, but there is nothing amazing about him. I can't be bothered to show myself, so I let him leave. I didn't expect you guys to come again. One of you still has two types of monic flames. What an unexpected surprise. A strange expression emerged on Xiaoyan's face when he heard this. The last person who came here was probably not one of Ma Huyang or Lin Dao. Otherwise, the higher-ups of Yunlo Academy would have known about it. He thought that it might be a genius from another academy. As he thought about it, what Ma Huyu said suddenly appeared in his mind. It would be the chosen one from the Star Sky Academy who would be Ma Huyang's opponent. What, you want to take it away? Recovering from his thoughts, Xiaoyan sneered. He had already taken precautions in his heart. That won't happen. Although it will be very easy for me to take it away, it will be useless. Hearing this, the existence of the Blood Eye let out a burst of laughter. Then, he said with emotion, in the ancient era, this was a battlefield. Many people died here, and then the yin qi here was too strong. This place became a prison again, and after I was sealed by those old fellows, I was sent here. Because of the unique nature of my constitution, I didn't slowly die. Instead, I became like this, with my own consciousness. However, he no longer looked like a human. This is a living corpse. There are a lot of dead people in the illusory spirit space, but there are only a few living corpses. My body has turned into a sea of blood, and I can't get out even if I'm trapped by the 5-elemental energy seizing formation. I can only wait for the origin key in my body to be sucked dry before my consciousness disappears. Fortunately, I met a little guy who has a monic flame. Xiaoyan heard this and glanced at the trapped Xiaoao and Wu Shaoqi who was lying behind him. He said in a deep voice, those two monsters were also released by you. Monsters. The death of that little girl has nothing to do with me. If you want to blame someone, blame those old fellows. They used the 5-elemental gathering formation to seal me and automatically absorbed my source key to transform into monsters. I am powerless to do anything about it. The existence of the Blood Eye immediately spat out a mouthful of bitter water upon hearing this, thoroughly understanding Xiaoyan's mind. All right, let go of my friend and we'll leave this place immediately. Xiaoyan remained calm and collected as he spoke in a deep voice. That won't do. It wasn't easy for me to find someone with a monic flame. You can't just leave like that. The blood in the Blood Eye surged, showing the excitement within. What else do you want? Don't tell me you want me to save you. Then you're thinking too much. Xiaoyan sneered and said while gnashing his teeth. Not to mention you, even if I was at my peak, I wouldn't be able to escape this place. However, After such a long period of time, the confinement ability of the 5 elements energy gatherer formation has weakened significantly. As long as you can create a body for me, and contain my consciousness, then I have the confidence to get out of here. The tone of the blood eye suddenly changed as it spoke in a fiery tone. Refinement of a body. For you. Xiaoyan could not help but laugh coldly when he heard this. Don't say that I don't have that ability. Even if I do, I will definitely not refine it for you. Just because I am from the nether domain. The blood in his blood eyes surged, and then he said earnestly, I'm a person from nearly 1,000,000 years ago. It has nothing to do with you, even if you have any opinions about the nether domain. It has nothing to do with me, right? Besides, I won't treat you unfairly. Countless supreme experts have fallen in the Wu Yin meridian. You have come here to search for the fortune of these people. I can provide you with one. How about it? His words were gentle and patient, and he had thoroughly comprehended Xiaoyan's thoughts. Xiaoyan's heart involuntarily moved when he heard this. He mused for a moment before he softly sighed. The era where Nether Imperial Consort was born. It was during the time when the Soul Demon was wreaking havoc. The Nether Domain and the Soul Demon had joined hands and nearly overturned the great world. Even if I were to seek a great opportunity, I would not do anything for you. You even know about the Soul Demon. Upon hearing Xiaoyan's words, the blood in his eyes fluctuated intensely. His voice contained some shock as he became silent for a moment. He slowly opened his mouth and said, Since you know about the Soul Demon, you must also know that they have been destroyed. I don't know what has happened in this great world for such a long time. However, since you are still able to cultivate here, it means that the plan of Nether Domain has been destroyed by those guys. The strength of the Nether Domain has also been restricted. Besides, with my current strength, even if I go out, I won't be able to cause any trouble. You don't have to worry about me. After a pause, the old voice spoke again. If you agree, I can give you the authority to control the illusory spirit space. What do you think? As he spoke, a strange ripple emerged from the blood in his blood eyes, as if a cold light had flashed past. Seeing that Xiaoyan was still silent, the blood eye turned for a moment. Suddenly, 2 blood chains extended out and tied Wu Shaoqi, who was lying on the rock, into the air with lightning speed. Put her down. Seeing what the blood eye did, Xiaoyan's eyes almost popped out. The fury in his heart could not be concealed. Wu Shaoqi had died in order to save them. This debt of gratitude was too great. This kind of curse seal. Ignoring Xiaoyan's angry roar, the blood eye whispered softly. After that, a burst of laughter sounded. Little guy, if you promise me, I will give this little girl a chance to seek an opportunity. She might be able to remove this curse. Not only will she wake up again, her strength might also increase. This sentence was like a thunderclap exploding in Xiaoyan's mind. His originally unshakable state of mind was now shaken. An excited expression flashed across the eyes of the trapped Xiao when he heard this. He was unable to shout out and could only nod his head at Xiaoyan, indicating that the latter would agree. Is what you said true? Xiaoyan clenched his teeth tightly. He stared intently at the blood eye and spoke in a deep voice. Of course, this is related to my escape plan. How could I say that? The words in the blood eye made Xiaoyan's heart waver. Think about it quickly. The life force in this little girl's body is about to disappear. If she really dies, even a monster of the mystery realm won't be able to save her. The defensive line was destroyed by this charming voice one after another. Xiaoyan looked at Wu Shaoqi's figure in the air. His fist was clenched so hard that it made a loud sound. It was a long while before he finally nodded his head with great difficulty. Chapter End. Battle Through the Firmament. Grand World. Chapter 335 Flame Master's Inheritance. I promise you. Xiaoyan's heavy voice slowly sounded. His heart was also extremely tormented. Although he knew that what he did was wrong, he had no other choice in order to save Wu Shaoqi. Good, good, good. The blood in the blood eye suddenly surged. Its emotions were violently fluctuating. Its old voice was filled with unconcealable joy. Hurry up and raise your strength to the Emperor cultivation level. I'll tell you what to do in the future. Seeing Xiaoyan agree, the old voice calmed down from its initial ecstasy. But I am not at ease with just one word from you. As he spoke, a blood-red light suddenly shot out from his bloody eyes. Before Xiaoyan could react, it had already entered his forehead. This is a blood source seed, one with this sea of blood. When I left this place and the sea of blood dispersed, this blood source seed naturally disappeared. If you go back on your word, I only want one thought. He. Xiaoyan touched his forehead and felt a burning sensation in his mind. He stared coldly at the huge blood eye and pursed his lips. He didn't say anything, but the feeling of being threatened was really unpleasant. Let me make this clear. What kind of fortune this little girl can find depends on her luck. But don't worry, she has recovered a lot due to the influence of those key sources. As he spoke, an endless amount of blood mist surged out from his blood eye. The blood mists crazily spread in the air, devouring all the surrounding black fog. Xiaoyan was silent when he heard this. His eyes stared intently at Wu Shaoqi, who was in the air. Under the binding of the blood chains, she entered the blood mist and disappeared without a trace. Phew, all right, I have already sent her to the center of the 5 major yin meridians. There are many experts remains there. What she can get will depend on her luck. After doing all this, the existence of the blood eye seemed to have suffered a serious injury. Its breathing became rapid as it panted. I need to recuperate for a while. There are no more demons in the Wu Yin meridian. You should cultivate well and reach the Emperor cultivation as soon as possible. As he spoke, the blood eye exploded with a loud bang, turning into a rain of blood that poured down. It formed a blood-red ocean on the plain, just like before. The blood chain that bound the Xiaoao also disappeared. The former rushed to Xiaoyan's side, looked in the direction where Wu Shaoqi had disappeared, and muttered to himself. There are countless experts who have fallen in illusory spirit space. There are even more experts buried in the center of the 5 great yin meridians. If you are lucky, little Missy is very likely to obtain a great opportunity. Xiaoyan rubbed his forehead and said in a low voice, I hope so. Everything that had happened just now seemed like a dream. However, the slight pain on his forehead reminded him of the former. Xiaoyan pursed his lips and raised his head once again. There was no longer any hesitation on his face. Wu Shaoqi had died in order to save him. As long as he could save her, there was nothing wrong with paying any price. The existence of the blood eye had also said that he could only help her when she reached the Emperor cultivation. At that time, with his strength, it was likely that he would be able to bear the responsibility. That old man just now said that he wanted to give you the authority to control the illusory spirit space. I have been thinking about whether the good thing that he and that old man sensed back then was the core of the illusory spirit space, the Eye of Great Wave. The Xiaoao pondered for a moment, and muttered to himself. Even Xiaoyan, who had a soft voice, did not notice it. I don't know how much time is left in 15 days. I have to hurry and cultivate. No matter how urgent Wu Shaoqi's matter was, it was useless. Xiaoyan sighed softly and took out the origin bead of the huge bear monster from before. The origin bead sparkled with a spiritual light and was filled with extremely powerful origin key. The Xiaoao's expression was also filled with exhaustion. Its already heavily injured body could not hold on any longer. It yawned, shook its body, and turned into a ball of flames that entered Xiaoyan's body. Xiaoyan sat cross-legged on a huge rock. Facing the calm sea of blood, he entered into a state of cultivation. In this place, he didn't have to worry about the appearance of monsters, unless the ancient expert didn't want to live anymore. The origin bead was floating in front of him. Xiaoyan gently closed his eyes. An endless stream of origin surged out from it and flowed into Xiaoyan's body. The originally stagnant key seemed to be pulled by something, and it started rising again. Although the giant bear was a Monic Emperor monster, it came out from the blood sea. The origin beads contained within the origin bead were much richer than the devil apes and origin beads from before. It was comparable to an emperor cultivation monster's origin bead. It was undoubtedly a great supplement for the current Shaoyan. Gulp, gulp. A few blood bubbles popped up in the sea of blood in front of him from time to time, but it was incomparably calm. Just like what the voice in the blood eye said, during the process of Shaoyan's cultivation, not a single monster had appeared. The once famous Wu Yin Meridian had now become the safest place in illusory spirit space. Under Shaoyan's training, several days passed in the blink of an eye. There was no day and night in illusory spirit space. The flow of time was also difficult to detect. After an unknown number of days, the origin bead of this Monic Emperor-level monster had completely shattered. Shaoyan's strength had also steadily reached the level of 2 emperors. Now that I have exchanged blows with Mahiyu, I wonder how many moves will be able to end. Shaoyan leapt up from the huge rock. The energy circulating within his body seemed to be endless. A feeling of controlling everything spontaneously arose, and his sensitivity towards the surrounding space increased significantly. I don't know how many days have passed. I wonder how Zuna and Kalen are. He looked at the blood sea in front of him. He had stayed here for a few days and had no idea what was going on in the outside world. He couldn't help but worry more about Zuna and Kalen. Crack. Just as he was thinking about it, the sound of space shattering suddenly sounded out. Shaoyan was stunned for a moment, then he looked at the place where the sound came from. The black fog had already completely dissipated, and an obvious spatial crack suddenly spread out. Under Shaoyan's gaze, a light figure jumped out from within, and let out a bell-like laughter. Her jet-black hair was draped behind her head, and the heroic spirit between her brows was the same as before. Her figure, which was wrapped in a black soft armor, revealed her curves. It was Wu Shaoqi, Senior. Seeing that Wu Shaoqi had returned to her original appearance, Shaoyan's tensed heart finally settled down. It was as if a stone had fallen to the ground. I don't know what happened either. However, being able to recover and find a great opportunity to undo the curse seal should have something to do with you. I will remember this kindness. Wu Shaoqi smiled sweetly. In Shaoyan's perception, there seemed to be a special kind of charm. Senior risked her life to save me. This is nothing. Shaoyan smiled lightly and looked at Wu Shaoqi with more and more surprise in his eyes. He actually could not see through the latter's current strength. Wu Shaoqi seemed to have seen through Shaoyan's surprise and pursed her lips into a smile. She touched a dark and almost indiscernible curse mark on the back of her neck and said after a moment of hesitation, "When I woke up, I was in a mysterious space. I vaguely saw a man who called himself Flame Lord. He said he was an existence from ancient times. He had been dead for hundreds of thousands of years, but only a wisp of his soul remained. After meeting me, he taught me everything about him. That wisp of his soul vanished into thin air as well." As she spoke, Wu Shaoqi flipped her jade-like hand and a red jade pendant appeared in her hand. There were mysterious patterns on the jade pendant. A strange beast that could not be called out raised its head towards the sky and spread its wings to soar into the sky. With the help of this power, my curse seal has been completely refined, and my strength has also reached the Monic Emperor. However, I keep feeling like I'm carrying a responsibility. Staring at the jade pendant in her hand, Wu Shaoqi said with a solemn expression. Chapter end. Please guys like, comment, share, and subscribe.